This
get the,
conference will now be recorded.
okay. Did everyone receive the minutes?
Yeah.
Everyone reviewed the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Could we, a motion to accept?
Motion
make
to
a
accept the
motion to
minutes. Janice, motion to accept last month's minutes.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second Laura Dancho.
thank you. All right, let's get started. I don't see, okay. Patricia or Jen aren't here, so we'll start to, reviewing the protocol. I was hoping they would be there. We had some issues when we purchased the bulbs from Color Blends. They were not paid. So I started to do some research, and apparently what's happened, we have new people at in the finance department. They were only working 2 days a week, and then other days they were working from home like everyone else. So somewhere in between, the paperwork was lost. To make a long story short, everything was taken care of now. And Color Blends understands COVID and all the different things that can happen. So that's a very good, yes. So now we have the assistant to purchasing, and I sent you that email, so I won't go over that again. But what we do, if anybody has anything that they need to send in, normally we give it to Patricia Ritchie, but she's not on right now. So if you have anything, you give it to her, or you can just email and contact him. And I sent you that information. Is there anyone who needs that again?
Listen, I'm on my phone. I can't seem to log into the GoToMeeting site. I don't know why. It's Patricia, so I'm just on my phone. I'm just on my phone. I apologize that I just don't know why it won't work. But anyway, where are we in the agenda?
Well,
I'm here too, guys. Can you hear me? It's Donna.
Hi, Donna. We don't see
Hi.
you.
I'm on my phone too.
Oh, okay. I'm not the only one then. I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, where
Okay,
are we on the agenda?
Right at the beginning, we just accepted the minutes of our last meeting. Does anyone have a question? We already accepted, but do you have a question? Anyone about last month's meeting?
Nope.
Okay. So the three of you on a phone, there's no photo or no image.
Okay.
Right.
I wish I could help
Right.
you. I don't know. Maybe somebody could look into that so the next time that doesn't happen, unless you don't want to be on. That's okay.
No, it worked for me last time. I don't know what happened this time, but I'll figure it out.
All right. Patricia,
Just not tonight.
Was there any change to our finances, or was it the same as last month?
It's pretty much the same as last month. The only difference is it looks like everybody's been paid. There's no outstanding invoices, which is good. So we're at 38.4% of our budget has been used.
Okay. All right. So we just talked about the protocol. I sent everybody the email with his name, the email and all of that. I'm assuming you all have it. If not, let me know and I will send it to you again.
No, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. Yep, I got it.
So Laura, I didn't put it on the agenda because we didn't see you last month, but you were going to look into the matter with Public Works about our stop signs and the reflectors. Will that be done to all of the signs or just the ones they did? Were you able to find out?
Can you say that again? You got a little garbled. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. The reflectors on the stop signs. Were you able to find out from Public Works if they're doing it for all of the stop signs in Stratford?
Do what, Christy?
You know how you have the red reflective tape on them?
Oh,
Okay.
you know what? I don't have that down as a notation, so no, I didn't ask them about that, but I can certainly email her.
Okay. Someone had asked and I have no idea, so I said I would ask and try and find out if this is something throughout the town. The next one, Rita, technology, anything new?
No, not really. It's been kind of quiet on Facebook, except we have 609 followers now, which is nice.
Great.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Stratford Police Department is now following us.
Oh,
Really?
That,
I thought I'd point that out.
I think that's
Because we
good.
gave them wreaths. Maybe it's because of the Christmas wreaths.
That's great.
Yeah.
It could also be that, when we drive around to look at the houses to award.
You know what? I think Christine
What is that?
asked everyone to mute themselves.
Okay.
Whose
What is
alarm's
that
going off?
noise?
I think, yeah, everyone should mute themselves if we're not talking.
It's Margot. I think that's Cindy. It looks like she's on her iPad but called in on the phone at the same
Oh.
time. I don't know if that's accurate, but that was causing that feedback. So I muted one of her and it stopped. So
Thank you. So Cindy, are you there?
She can't, she's muted. She's there, but
Somebody must be with her then, trying to get her on. All right, we'll skip over the introduction then. Carol mentioned.
Conference will now be recorded.
oh well, that's weird.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody Cindy, is that you calling in?
Okay, it's me trying to get on. You're muted.
Okay.
Oh. All right, I'm
You're
going
on
off the
twice.
computer because I'm just screwing it up. Let me see
Yeah,
if I can. Yeah, I'm just gonna do on the phone.
Okay. All right, Janice, can you give us an update on the town hall decorations? And then Patty, would you do it too? What was it like when you went to remove them from the gazebo and also from town hall? So Janice, do you want to start?
Sure. There was no one around. It was pretty quick. Getting them all down. I took a huge trash bag and was able to, put them in so it didn't get all over the car. But yeah, like very quiet over there when I went, and nice and speedy.
Good. Well, thank you.
And I did I took the bows off and put those in a plastic bag. Donna, I did leave those
They are safely in my basement.
at your house. Okay. It was so windy.
Yeah, they're safely in my basement now.
Awesome.
All
Okay.
right. Patty.
so the green, it wasn't that difficult, but I could have definitely used one other person because of how much the lights were wrapped actually around the garland. But I got it all down on that Friday and boxed up the lights and the bows and delivered it to Donna.
They are safely in my basement too.
One of the things I did notice though was there was a lot of garbage all around the gazebo.
Are you talking about inside or around the outside?
There was a little bit inside, but it was more outside, like on the steps and around the gazebo itself. I picked up a lot of it, but the cigarette things and like empty cups and just a bunch of stuff. I was surprised at how much there was.
Wow. I'm just making a note, so next year we have at least 2 people. Sorry. At least 2 people helping to do that next year. Janice, were you all right doing it by yourself at town hall, or do we need 2 people?
We don't need 2 people.
All right.
Just
so
one tall one.
Yes, just one tall one.
I haven't been up the green for a while. Was the tree removed from the gazebo?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. All right, next we have on the agenda number 6, the decorating contest, new holiday design concepts. Did anyone have any ideas? Oh, Cindy, you're on. I don't know who that is.
That's moving. My house phone ringing. Hang on.
Okay. So Cindy, welcome. It's nice to see a face with a name. And do you want to just share a little bit about yourself? And you're in lucky sunny Florida. I don't see a tan. Oh,
Cindy.
You're muted.
unmute
You gotta
yourself.
unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing you'll discover is I'm not good with technology, and I'm trying, but yeah, getting to this is my first go-to meeting. I've Zoomed, but not done this. So, and I'm on an iPad now, so maybe that's the difference. But anyway, Donna Caserta suggested this. We've talked about this for years. I used to take care of her teeth, and now I'm retired. Time, and I thought this might be right up my alley, and I could be helpful. So, yeah. So I'm out starting here cold. I don't have any minutes, and I don't know what you guys do. So, but I'm here to help.
Great.
Welcome
Well,
to the committee.
Thank you.
yes. Yes. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we'll move along quickly so everybody can get on with their lives and the cat doesn't bother me. Plant materials for 2021. We just, before I interrupted, I'm sorry, Cindy, new holiday concepts for the signs. Did anybody have any new ideas? I know we were talking about having signs that people could see at night if they're driving around. The ones we've had were rather dark. Any ideas?
I think if we do that, though, they're going to have to be something, really metally. I don't think seeing them at night is going to be really doable unless they do it with a certain kind of reflective paint or something. And I don't know if, oh my God, what's his name? The guy that does the signs. I don't know if he could do that. But
Okay,
I thought we had talked about just changing the design of them, not so much to make them show up at night. Changing the design in general, because the design is kind of bleh, I think. I don't know what other people think, but it just doesn't do it for me. So,
okay. Well, if people are willing to look into that, I know that when I drove around to check and see if people actually put them out, one of the people had difficulty putting it in the ground because the ground was frozen. So he kind of taped it to one of his columns.
no, that's fine.
As far as the color is, you couldn't see from the road really, unless all the lights were on. Where he had it, I couldn't see what was on the sign. You could during the day, but not at night.
Well, maybe we can. What is his name? Andy. Maybe we could ask Andy to come up with something different. Or I know that Jen is very artistic, and Janice, I think you are too, aren't you? And maybe come up with a new design
For the sign, the
for the
gold
sign.
looking sign that we give out.
The lawn
Oh,
sign.
sure. I'll help.
I am not artistic at all. I mean, literally can't draw a straight line with a ruler. So I would not be the perfect candidate for that. But you, Janice and Jennifer are very artsy. So maybe, they could come up with some kind of design and we could bring it to Andy and see if he could do that or some version of it.
Cindy, that's Andy Glad, who does a lot of the signage for us for the Beautification Committee.
All right. Thank you for telling me that.
Mm-hmm. He does
All right.
signage for all of Stratford, I think.
Well, that's good. Well, it's local.
Yeah.
All right, then we can go on to plant materials. So we have two people that possibly can look into it, and we could ask Jen if she would consider it. She's not on. I didn't get an email. Did you get an email from her, Donna?
No,
Okay.
I shouldn't say that. I've not checked emails all day. I just said to Ken, what time is it? He goes 6:05. I went, oh my God, my meeting. And he said, I forgot to remind you. So I have not checked emails or anything all day long. So she could have,
right,
and I don't.
We'll move on to 7 then, and that's plant materials for 2021. And the first one was edging. That was mentioned by, I think it was Patricia
Mhm.
Ritchie,
That's me. Yeah,
that
that was me.
that we would consider that. Were you able to look into that other than metal edging? What were you thinking about it?
I did not look into it at all. I'm sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to, but I'm still about the metal edging. It just sinks into the ground and prevents the grass from growing into the garden. Do you want me to look into it? I mean, I can. I just didn't know I was supposed to.
Let's hear from everybody else. How do you feel about having it edged? Rita?
Good idea. Excellent idea.
Laura?
I think that it would be very helpful to have it edged, and I think maybe we should talk to Chad to see if he has any at Public Works.
Patty?
I agree. I think it should be edged.
Okay. Janice?
I agree as well.
Cindy?
Okay, sounds good to me. I like edging.
All right. Donna?
I agree. I think I agree with Laura, though. I think we need to run it by Chad to make sure it's not going to interfere with the lawnmowers or, or anything like that. But it
Sprinkler
definitely
system.
needs something there.
Well, I think it would help the sprinkler systems too, that they don't damage them, and that seems to happen every spring. But Laura, will you take care of that then? As
Yeah,
far
sure.
as edging is concerned, I mean, there's a variety of edging. It's plastic. You could do stone, you could do metal, and maybe the town already has something.
Well, that's what I'm
that-
thinking. And then if you're talking about just around the honor garden, not around every single bed that we do around town hall.
No, the 2 honor gardens, the little one,
Yeah.
and then the big one. Yes. Okay. Color scheme too. We haven't heard anything as far as what the town is doing so far, but I'm assuming we would complement. Anyone have ideas? We've asked before. Nobody has sent anything in. Do you want to replicate what we had last time? Do you want to see new design?
I thought we had talked about last year. I thought we had talked about putting perennials in instead of annuals.
Yeah, I thought we had two. In fact, I was thinking Liatris would look really good. You'd have to buy a lot of it, but that's great along the edge.
I think that's good, but you need to remember you're talking about a 2-week season, and we need to complement that as well. I think with annuals. So our season goes from practically the end of March with the daffodils all the way to the first frost, which is in October, November. So really, up to that point, you need color. And what we've done in the past, we've tried to do the Stratford High colors. We did ask if Stratford High, what the planting, we haven't heard anything as far as their design. I did drive by. I don't know if anyone else could help us with this as well. They have appears to be some bushes and grasses, etc. But I don't know if they are doing any annuals or perennials in that. Laura, do you know?
I don't know, but I would say that if you're looking at the Board of Ed doing that, that it's just not going to happen. But and I'm not sure if any school club or whatever would just take ownership of their own garden. I don't know of any school that really does anything special other than Eli Whitney in the front of their buildings.
I think Canal does, but I think they've got a group. No, not anymore.
Oh, no, it's terrible over there.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
I was just there for a flag raising last summer, and there was nothing other than trees and bushes and weed grass.
So for Stratford High and in their landscape design plan, they simply have what's existing there now. There's no plan for anything else.
I can't see where anyone would come in and plant flowers or annuals or perennials or anything otherwise that would need additional care, because they're going to just put in plants that, like trees and bushes, that are going to stay there, grass that can be cut, simple.
But all of that is maintenance as well. I mean, it's,
Well,
even
the town will mow the lawn and they'll trim the bushes like they.
grasses. Okay.
Like, you have to remember, there's one gardener. We have one gardener, so.
Wow.
I had no
So
idea.
what were you asking, Christine, is to have each school, what exactly were you asking?
No,
Like
I
for each
wanted
school?
whether or not the original landscape design included any type of annuals or perennials in their design. We had asked that last year. We were hoping to hear from them to see what they had done. So in the meantime, we've been driving by and just looking. So if they had something in their design that we could complement it as well. So it looks like a
Is
unified.
this specifically for Stratford High or for all the schools? Is that,
It was specifically for Stratford High because they're
I
right next
see.
to our home. So the colors, the red and the yellow is something that we've always incorporated in our design plan.
I
I'm not even
see.
sure if the old Stratford High School had any sort of plantings other than bushes and trees and grass. And I know that Ellen Llewellyn gave us the name of the landscaper who was going to work with the new, because the landscaper was working because the school's brand new, so they were putting in original plantings. So we have that person's name, but as far as putting in annuals or perennials or flowers or color, I'm not sure if it would incorporate any of that.
All right, so that will close that issue. But they have in the past had floral plantings in front. I mean, granted, there were some geraniums and some marigolds, etc. But I think that was Public Works that did that. So I don't know. I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
also remember there was one elementary school, I want to say that it was Wilcox, and they had a garden and they actually asked our committee to take over maintaining it. So we're just not going to, I think each school is going to be on their own as far as getting a committee together, a PTA or whatever it is they want to do to put in color in their.
I know.
think
So Laura,
excuse me, I think that was Franklin School, and Gail Licio worked with them on that. And she told them when they started that they would have to be responsible for it, that the beautification committee was
Right.
not going to be responsible for it once it was planted.
Right, and Public Works can't be responsible for it either. It's we just don't
Right.
have the power to go around to every single school to maintain a summer garden.
Right.
We could, but it's just not going to be possible.
I
Right.
know at Franklin, they're raised beds, so I don't know what the status of that is. I don't drive that way, so I don't see. I don't know if anybody else has.
It's a mess.
Okay.
I think it just
so
depends on the PTA group that you have that year that's going to actually put the effort into it.
while we're on this topic, so I know Stratford Academy, both schools, the two schools on the campus, they have a beautification committee sort of under their PTA. I
Yeah.
know there have been uncertainty in terms of what volunteers can do versus public works, meaning like there are times when volunteers would try to do certain cleanups but are told you can't do that because public works have to do it. So we've been trying to figure out where the lines, so that we're not stepping on on their toes, because volunteers do want to clean up and make the school look nice, but we also don't want to do something that gets ripped out because we shouldn't have done something, right? And then I'm thinking we could ask the different schools who do want to do something where they are the ones maintaining it, get this committee's sort of like a consultation, right? Like give them, some recommendations to say, hey, you could do this, you could do that. Like those are some of the things I envisioned that would be part of our committee, is giving them recommendations and they can, run with it and implement it and maintain it.
I'm sorry. That's
Go ahead.
exactly what Gail Licio did with Franklin School, and they had a really nice time. They all enjoyed it. The problem was that the spearheads of that,
That's
either
what
the
happened.
PTA or the teachers, they moved on,
Right.
and the gardens were left, and the kids graduated from the school, and the gardens were left and it became a mess. Nobody took responsibility for it. So I think that if you're going to do something like that, it has to be people that aren't going to be leaving the following year, or aren't doing it just because they need a Girl Scout credit, kind of a thing.
Right. Make it more part of the entire school body or something like that. Make it long term.
Make it part of the curriculum almost.
Yeah.
Like home economics. Kind of a thing.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
But other than that, because the last time I saw them, well, at the end of the school year when I drove by Franklin, it looked terrible. It was like a pile of weeds, very unkempt. So, and I knew that was going to happen, and Gail was afraid it was going to happen, but she kind of kept reiterating with them, you have to keep this up. Once you start this, you can't. And all of them said yes, yes, yes. But as I said, a lot of them moved on and didn't pass the baton down the road, so to speak. So
would it be fair to say, like, if a school is looking to do something, that they will, take on the responsibility of, they could send the committee some photos and ask for suggestions on what they can plant or would that be something we're receptive to?
I think that's a very good idea. I think when they do this, there needs to be a maintenance schedule, because as you know, school ends in June, and the big problem with all schools is the watering. And oftentimes the hoses are not there, the connections are not there. Unless it's someone that lives nearby can do that. At least that's happened at 3 schools, including Eli Whitney, Lordship.
Okay.
But to answer your question, yes, we'd be happy to help them develop what they want to do, but not be responsible for it, and have them know that they have to be, 12 months of the year, they have to be responsible, kind of a thing. So
okay, I think that's fair. Maybe eventually we'll get businesses to do that.
Yeah, right. I mean,
We have some businesses do a great job.
Oh, yeah.
The next thing on the agenda was mulch. I know some of you brought that up as far as the town hall gardens were concerned, and even though we signed up to take care of it every 2 weeks, a lot of the weeding really could have been facilitated by having some kind of mulch. The only problem is environmentally, a lot of the mulch that we get, and I don't know, maybe you could help with that, Laura, with the town. I don't know if they use the wood chips that were cut down or whatever, but the current thinking on all of that is that it brings in all kinds of elements we don't want, as far as blight, mildew, etc. But it does help keeping the weeds down and keeping the moisture. But town hall is watered. They're on a watering system, so that part of it, we really don't need. So could we have some discussion and some ideas on that?
well, what would you recommend that we use?
Well, right now, the current thinking is to do dense planting so that weeds cannot grow through. So you don't have that space between the Dusty Miller or, between that and the roses or whatever. So we need something to incorporate in between to stop that. That's just a new thought, a new concept by most of the landscape designers.
I don't know how you can get away without not mulching, honestly. And when I mulch, and I'm saying you mulch with enough mulch to keep the weeds down, and the town does not do that. Whatever they're using, it's sparse. You putting down a 1-inch layer of mulch does nothing, absolutely nothing. So, and you might want to think about the hemlock mulch, which lasts better from year to year. And I know there's a company that brings it in by the truckload. But I don't know how you cannot mulch a garden. I don't care how many flowers you planted.
Are you speaking from experience? Can you corroborate the hemlock mulch? I've never used it I don't know. I don't have any background.
I haven't used it myself, but I know my son has used it, and a number of other people that I've talked to, actually people who we were contemplating having won an award for beautification curb appeal, that all used hemlock and told me where it could be bought. And I have been wanting to get some, but you know, to bring it in by the truckload for me would mean I'd have to take it by the wheelbarrows full, which for me is harder than lugging bags around. But I have heard that that's the way to go, that the hemlock mulch lasts longer. It doesn't disintegrate into the ground the way cedar mulch does. It would be something to, you know, talk about. It's a little more expensive because it lasts longer. You don't have to replace it as often.
Are the particles smaller? We're not talking about large pieces, right? We're talking about.
No, it looks to me like more shredded than the cedar, which is more of a chip, you know?
Mhm.
I
Laura,
get the cedar in bags from Treeland, and I pay
Christine.
like $3.50 a bag.
Christine, my husband and I use hemlock.
And
There
can
you
you tell
go.
us?
We get it from
And?
Grillo.
Okay.
Yes,
And?
Brillo. That's a company.
It is more expensive, and it still breaks down quite a bit in the sun because we have a very sunny side, and it does still break down more rapidly than the shade. It's got more of a reddish hue to it, which I'm not crazy about, but it is better for your garden. That's what I've always been.
How would it look? How would it look at town hall? What's your feeling about that?
I think it would look nice. It would look nice. But we
It's
put
not
it, we
red,
do put it down
it's not
extremely
that
thick,
red.
too.
It's more brown than red.
Yeah, yes, but in the sun, it has a red hue to it.
Okay.
Laura, could you check with Public Works to see if that is something that's feasible? And what do they use?
Well, we know they use the bags because we get the bags that they left and it got all moldy, remember?
Well, you know, that's when you're buying it from a big box store and other places as well, that's what you're getting. Usually from storms in the south with the pines that are cut down. So it brings in, so if you, for instance, if you have siding, vinyl siding, the little black spots,
Mm-hmm.
that all comes in from the mulch that we put down by our homes. But
Mhm.
let's do a little more research because it certainly sounds from everyone that this is something that's viable and that we need and would stop some of the workload that we have in the summer to maintain all of this. But let's do our research first. We'll find out what the town is using other than the bagged.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
Um,
next month,
uh,
I'm sorry.
Chris, I'll give Grillo a call and see what they might charge the town to bring in, you know, one truckload full of the stuff, and then have the town spread it. I'll just check into it. Maybe I'll get a sample too.
I think, Patricia, too, measuring the area to find out how much we need is another,
Mhm.
you know, for the two areas.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you for doing that.
Yep.
Next on the, I put down spring bulbs for, you know, intercession, intermediate planting with, for instance, I put down snowdrops, grape hyacinths, crocus. So there is more of a seasonal interest in both of the places. What are your thoughts on that?
And where are we planting them?
This is in the the two honor gardens.
Mm-hmm.
So can we?
When you're talking the crocus bulbs are tiny. And I have a feeling that they're more likely to get dug up accidentally than in the next round of whatever you're putting in there. They're nice, but I don't think it's practical.
Okay, I'll take off crocus. What are your thoughts
Don't take
of
it
the
off
snow?
because of me. That's just my own opinion, you know.
Well, the crocus is something that really wouldn't be in the beds to begin with. They would be for naturalizing in the grassy areas because they multiply on their own.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for the
that's fine in the grassy areas, but not in the gardens.
no. So the other thought was snowdrops and the grape hyacinths, because those two gardens are more of a formal presentation. So to have some consistency, so we would have something blooming probably at the end of February. Then towards the end of March, April, we do have the daffodils that we planted. We are the daffodil town, but then the grape hyacinths, these are all bulbs that would naturalize on their own. And yes, between the squirrels digging them
Yeah,
up,
that's what I was,
eating them, we do need to do succession planting. But what are your thoughts? Would you like to see that? We would plant them in the fall with some of the daffodils. What are your thoughts on that?
we wouldn't be able to have it for this spring, though. It would be for next spring, correct? Because we would have
Yes,
already had to have planted them. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah, I think
good
that's,
thing,
that's nice.
even in your home gardens, even though bulbs are planted in the fall, for your own garden, it's always good to get the flowering bulb in the spring and plant it, because then it sets itself up. It's not as easily removed by squirrels, etc. And you get the genus and species that you want. You know, when we order it, sometimes it's mixed up. But for most landscapers, the best thing is to plant it. But yes, I agree. In the fall, we can do that if that's something you're interested in. But for your own gardens, because you're not buying en masse like we are for town hall for the two gardens. So what are your thoughts? Cindy, how about you? We haven't heard from you.
Cindy,
Can't
there?
Cindy's muted.
Can you unmute yourself? Oh,
Sorry, I did. I'm just listening to everything you're talking about and trying to learn what you guys do around the town. So,
Cindy, we
yeah.
value everybody's opinion, ideas, because gardening is so subjective. It's different. So feel free to interject anytime.
Okay, I will.
Laura, how about you? Unmute yourself.
Nope, I'm unmuting. As far as planting the bulbs,
Yes, about adding.
I mean, you're going to be adding in probably additional color schemes. Crocuses and hyacinths come in purpley colors too. I'm not sure if you want to go there, but I think it's a great idea. The other thing is what you were originally talking about.
They'll be gone. Others
Yeah.
bloom.
Yeah, I
Those,
think
you know, by the
a nice little spring garden will look gorgeous.
yeah. So just tonight, how about you? Mute yourself.
I like tulips too.
Well, that tulips are great, but we don't have anybody to stand guard.
To what?
We don't have anybody to stand guard over tulips because the squirrels, that's the most fantastic dessert they can have.
Oh, yeah. They love the tulip bulbs.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, yes. Extremely sweet.
I do like the idea of doing that. And then by the time the daffodils come up, they will be spent. And I think it would be pretty. It's just more planting.
Well, the snowdrops will be gone, but the grape hyacinths, they complement the yellow daffodils. That would look pretty. And the one thing about grape hyacinths, the greenery comes up again in the fall, stays all through the winter. Some color there, which is nice. So just something to think about.
Okay.
Patty, how about you? I'm just going around the.
I do like the idea of putting more of the spring flowers in, and I personally do like the grape hyacinths a lot. I just looked up the snowdrop. It's also very nice as well. I definitely would not do the crocus though either. I kind of agree with what Patricia said on that as well.
Okay, good. Rita, how about you?
Yeah, I agree, and I do like the grape hyacinths, but I don't know, in my yard, they seem to end up everywhere. I don't know if the
Wow.
squirrels I don't know what happens, but they're everywhere in my yard and they multiply crazily.
Well, that's a good thing, but I don't know about getting all over the yard. Mine are they stay in an area, so I can only talk of what's in my garden. But you know what? That's okay. We're going to lose at least a third of it anyway when the town pulls out, the annuals. So
I think
Now,
it looks
where
really
would we get
pretty.
those bulbs from? Would we get those bulbs from Color Blends?
well, we try to do local, yes. Snowdrops, there are 1,300 different varieties, and there are organizations that are just crazy about snowdrops. So, I mean, they're as valuable as the original tulips were. People spent phenomenal money. So we're just talking about the very natural genus. I mean, there is one, the Leucoinum, which is really tall. It's like a foot and a half. It's very pretty. It blooms after the daffodils, but that's something we could talk about later. So right now it's just, what are your feelings about it? What do you think, whether or not we should look into this or not? So Janice, can we hear from you?
I love tulips. I love the idea of, having something that, such as the tulips, which are very pretty. And, like Donna said, those are short-lived, and by the time those die out, then the daffodils, would have arrived. So I'm on board with that.
But
Tulips
as
are a
Christine
no-no.
said,
They're
the
too,
squirrels will eat the
yeah,
They're too
daffodils.
high maintenance. Oh,
they are high
darn.
maintenance. You have to guard.
Yeah.
They will eat the bulb after it's planted in the fall and dig it up. And in
Oh.
the springtime, you might, if you put chicken wire over it or whatever, even hot pepper won't do anything. But once it comes up, they just snip off the top and they will
Mhm.
eat that. But
Gotcha. Well, the grape hyacinth, that's pretty too. So
yes,
if that's a better alternative, I'm on board with that as well.
okay. All right, Patricia,
Yes.
how about you? Your thoughts?
Um, I'm worried about all of the time and effort that's going to go into more bulbs, to be honest with you. If I were to choose any of these that are mentioned, I would probably go with grape hyacinth. But in my estimation, they will spread, but they don't go out of the bed, but they do get bigger, in bunches, and they do tend to last a long time. So I'm okay with the grape hyacinth if you're going to do any more bulbs.
Okay, so we'll look into at least the grape hyacinths. It'll be a nice color complement to what we have growing there right now. And you know what? Nothing is permanent. If we don't like it after we put it in, it's just how it is. But let's change things up. Let's make it friendlier for town hall, and hopefully after COVID, we'll all be able to. I mean, we did put in that nice extra bench, and hopefully people will be walking around through the grassy areas and enjoy it. So,
And people drive by all the time, so you're getting a view, you're enjoying it even as you drive past, so
right.
trying different things and making it interesting. I like that.
So think about, so let's close out that topic. So we'll look into that, and I'll show some bulbs. And if you have any that you would like more, please bring those up. I'm just talking about personal experience. I'm hoping you can bring that as well, what you like and what you see. I just, tulips, it's just tough. I would love them myself. I'm down to, I think, 2 in my garden right now because the wildlife has been voracious this year. So next on that, calendar days, would you please look and see when you're going on vacation? So next time we'll have the calendar out. Last year we worked 2 weeks at a time. Some of us worked, whenever we could, one person at a time, other 2. And by that we mean going to town hall and just deadheading, reading, etc. So
I
look at
think,
our calendar.
Christine, I think it's a little premature to try and do a calendar on that because we don't know what COVID's going to be and we don't know who's going to be on vacation at what time if we are going to be taking vacations. So I think we could probably wait until we actually plant before we do a maintenance calendar.
I can do
I have to
Cindy?
apologize. I have to leave the meeting now. But I will be on vacation the week starting Father's Day, so unless there's a real bad something, I will be away then. But other than that, I'm available, and I
Okay.
apologize. I have to go.
That's
So,
fine. Well, thank you for joining us.
and I'll see you the next time. Thank you.
Okay, then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so we'll put that on hold for the calendar as far as weeding. I'm hoping COVID will be gone. Next, it's the bags. Did anybody else do any more research on the bags?
I did. It's me, Patricia. And I think I have a couple of real possibilities. I was online a lot, and I also made a bunch of phone calls. Unfortunately, most of the companies that I called were all about plastic. And I know nobody's interested in plastic, but I did find a company that makes the paper, or the craft paper, the heavier paper bags. And I have asked them to send me some samples, which they are going to do. One of them is a yellow bag with an actual handle. It's a little bit bigger, not by much, than the one we have now, which Donna tells me is a 5 inch by 9.5 inch. This yellow bag I looked at was 8 inches by 4.5 inches, which is the gusset that opens up, by 10 1/4, but it has a handle on it. The other one that I looked at was made by the same company, same measurements, a little bit less expensive. What I would ask you, whoever ordered the bags the last time, do you have any idea of what they cost, how many you ordered at a single, order? Was it 250? Was it 500? Was it 1,000?
It was from Hudson Paper. It was
That I know.
500 in a box. And
okay, 500.
So we try to get 1,000 to have 1,000 on hand, because as you
Right.
say, some do break, and then we just save what's left over for the following year, and we start with a new complement of 500. I did do some research as well, and the reason that most companies are trying to do plastic, obviously it's a lot cheaper than the paper bag, and unfortunately no one really carries the fast biodegradable bags because of the shelf life. So if they buy it and some of it is not sold, they end up having to throw it out. And this is from 2 different companies, including Hudson Paper. And I went to them first only because they were local and keeping it within the community, and they've been very good for us. So that's just the background on the plastic. I also asked at the grocery stores when you go in. So for instance, one of the stores now will hand you either, they'll say paper or plastic, and they will hand you a bag, and their whole point right now is to reuse and recycle. And we've always done that instead of throwing it out. These are not thin. They're like the one I showed you from Hudson Paper. Then it's a very durable and reusable material, and that's how they feel they're helping with the environment, that it's kind of sustainable because you're using it forever. You can clean it, you can hand wash it, whatever. So that's what I've been told.
Chris, do you recall what you paid for 500 of the bags at Hudson? Or if you don't recall, can you find out?
Sure. They are the most reasonable. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm really liking what I see with this company that's out of Rochester, New York. So when I get the samples, I'll run over with them to both you and Donna, and you can let me know what you think.
Patricia, when you get the samples, could you take a picture with your phone and then just email all of us? That way everyone's a nice meeting.
Yeah, sure. Yep. I can do that.
Great.
Okay.
I
All
just,
right, if
I just have
anybody,
I just have a question. If we were to go with the bag with the handle, how would that be sealed at the top for distribution so the bulbs
I
didn't
If
fall out?
you had a bag with a handle, I would assume it would be very easy to just staple the top.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
No,
thinking
one staple.
not staple, fold
Or
over
use
the
the
top.
sticker. Use the
You
sticker.
can't fold. You can't fold it. It's got handles. So
Oh, wow, that's gonna be, okay.
So could our seal go over that opening to just keep it closed for
That's what I was
distribution?
thinking.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Patricia, do you know what the width of it is when it's opened, and it's expandable and you put the bulbs in, like the bottom?
It looks like 4.5 inches. The
Wow,
gusset.
that's,
I don't know what
That's
the yellow bags are that we use now, but these are just slightly bigger than the ones we use now. And the ones we use now, we fold over, a couple of times on the top. So I think these are a good possibility. I'm feeling good about it. Because
great,
no,
thank you.
because they look, like they're a heavier paper, which was
Mhm.
my concern because we broke so many, or I did, just
Mhm.
transporting them. I've got Scotch tape all over the bags. But anyway, let's wait and see what happens. But that was the best I could do without going plastic,
Thank you for doing the research on that and getting samples sent so the rest of us could see it. That's really nice of you. Thank you. But to
Okay.
give you some background for those of you that are new, we used to staple, and let me tell you, that was a job with your hand. Think about 500 and more that you're doing, and you're constantly clicking. Plus, it's something environmentally too. I mean, what happens to that?
I just want to add to Patricia's, point. Thanks for doing that research, and it does sound very promising because I feel like the issues we're having right now with the current bags kind of started because we have larger bulbs. So
Yeah, right.
size is going to definitely be a factor. So if we could get something a little bigger, then we can fit these larger, because the last couple of years our bulbs have been quite, like, they've been double, like compared to
Agreed.
past ones. So being able to fit them in there, I think this does sound like a good, and you know what, we try it 1 year, and if it doesn't work, we try something else the next.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Do we have any new business that we need to discuss other than what was on our agenda? Anyone have anything?
Well, I just wanted to let you know that we have, we won't need stickers this year. We have, I don't know how many are on a roll, but we have 2 or 3 unopened rolls, and then 2 that are partially used, but not very much. So I think as far as stickers are concerned, the large ones, well, as far as large ones, we're fine. We probably have about 200 bags left.
Okay.
And signs, we're going to need signs this year. Both. I think, I think we only have 6. I took a whatchamacallit inventory a couple of weeks ago, but I can send out to everybody what we have of everything, just to keep everybody up to date. I still have the baskets from last year that we did on Town Hall in the basement. I have all the bows, all the lights. I have the banner. I have a dozen H sticks. So when we, start to do stuff, we just have to remember that we have all of this stuff, so we're not reordering stuff that we don't need. Okay.
Great.
And
Because
that,
I'll, Donna, can you just email us just a short database of everything that we have?
Yeah, yes, I will. I will do that.
Thank you. Okay.
So,
Is there anything else?
nope, that's all I had to say.
No, that's it for me.
It was nice seeing everybody. And we'll look forward to hearing from a number of you with the information, which is great. So
You didn't
have a
give
great,
me a job, Christine. I don't have anything to
Right
do.
on
What-
time.
what did you say, Donna? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You didn't give me a job. I don't have anything to do for the next meeting. Does somebody want me to do something that they're doing that I could do?
Donna,
You're
doing
going to
a
reach
design-
out to Andy.
Oh, I can reach out to Andy, but yeah, I need designs though from you guys first.
But Donna, can't you ask him if he has any recommendations? I mean, he does this as a, he
Oh,
must
all right.
market everybody.
Yeah, I can talk to him about that.
idea.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe he can help us.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect. Great.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Okay,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Stay
Bye.
safe.
Okay, thanks.
Stay healthy.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.